Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're welcome. My name is Rosina Sharon, they call me the Queen of Blend, and today we're going to do a very detailed, I'm going to make it as detailed as it can be, very detailed beginner makeup tutorial. We're going to do a full face beginner makeup tutorial, and before we do that, kindly subscribe. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, kindly do so, and share your comments in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of them kama kawaida, and if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. With no further ado, let's go straight into the video. So we're going to start off with the eye makeup before the face makeup. Starting off with the eyebrows, start by brushing the eyebrows upwards and make sure your eyebrow area is dry, and it's going to be easier for you if you've already trimmed the brows. Now the eye pencil you're going to use is Davis number 3. Make sure it is as sharp as it can get. Where to start lining the lower side of the brow, you're going to follow the corner of the nose like that, okay? Place your first dot there, guys. Corner of the nose as shown. Place your first dot there. Now the second dot, you're going to measure it from where your pupil ends, okay? In that angle all the way up, place your next dot on the inner side like that. So that is going to guide you on where exactly you're going to start curving the eyebrow, where your pupil ends, okay? Now for the last dot, you're going to follow the lower lash line in that angle, placing your last dot there. Again, make sure your eye pencil is as sharp as it can get, and when you're holding the eye pencil, make sure it's pointed towards the eyes. Don't give it an angle, okay? Okay, sorry. And you're just going to follow those 3 dots, and as you're lining, please use very little force. Don't use too much force. It's going to create a thick line when you do that. Around the outer corner, you're going to curve it outwards. Now on the upper side, you're going to place a dot directly above where it starts curving on the lower side, so it gives you a guideline on where exactly to start curving the upper side as well. Around the inner corner, you're going to leave a bit of space, placing that dot there, okay? Now when you're connecting those 2 dots to where you're going to start curving, make sure it's a very slight angle, okay? Don't make it too angled. We don't want a Nike for an eyebrow, okay? And then you're just going to connect, curve it, again going towards the outer corner in an outwards angle, and then join the 2 lines together. Now before you start filling in, you're going to use the bar soap technique. Take a bar soap, wet it with water, and then you're going to rub on it until it forms a thick white foam. Then you're going to take a spoolie and take some of that thick white foam, and you're going to use that to brush through the brows before you start lining. Around the inner corner, you're going to brush it upwards. As you go towards the outer corner, on the other hand, brush it in a sideways angle, so when you brush your eyebrows, they just stay in between the 2 lines, okay? They don't go above the line on the upper side or below the line on the lower side. Make sure they're just spaced in between those 2 lines, okay? And it's very crucial for you to do this stage. For my beginners especially, this technique is going to save you a whole lot. Now immediately after, you're going to use the other side of the brush and press that in so your eyebrows stick onto the skin, and allow for that to dry out completely fast before you start filling in. Now to fill in, you're going to start from the outer corner going towards the inner corner, and you're going to use gentle strokes, okay? You're going to start from down up, okay? Down from the lower side going up, and then you can fill in between the spaces as you go. And as you fill in, use very little force. Around the inner corner, you're going to tilt your eye pencil sideways like that, and using very little force, just create a shadow going up. Now to clean, you're going to use a concealer 2 shades lighter than your skin tone, and you're going to use a flat brush. Now when you're applying the product on the brush, apply it side to side, so the product is concentrated on the side of the brush, not on the tip of the brush. Now when you're holding the brush, make sure it is lying flat. Don't point it towards the eye, lying flat. Around the inner corner, just leave a bit of space as you're cleaning. Now to clean, follow the shape of the brow and make sure your hands are stable, and do not raise your eyebrows while you're cleaning or lining the brows, okay? Relax the brows and clean. When you raise them up, they're going to give you a very different shape, and just follow the shape of the brow. As you go towards the outer corner, clean it outwards. And immediately after, drag the product down as you go. That is very important, guys. You can drag it sideways, and then you can use your finger just to tap on the outer corner so it blends in. Around the inner corner, remember we left a bit of space. You're going to use a foundation that matches your skin tone to clean around the inner corner, and make sure when you're cleaning the inner corner, that line blends into the concealer you used before, okay? Make sure the lines blend, and always drag the product down as you go. And then after, again, you can use your finger just to blend in that side before you continue. And then immediately after, use a fluffy brush and blend in that product before you start setting the eyelids for eyeshadow. Now to set the eyelids, for eyeshadow application. You can either use a concealer or an eyeshadow base. I prefer using an eyeshadow base. And you're going to use a fluffy brush. You're going to apply the product on the side of the brush, not on the tip of the brush, okay? Now for application, you're going to start from the lower lid moving up. Beginners, from the lower lid moving up, and you're going to tap, tap, tap. So as you go up, it just blends into the concealer on the upper side. Now before we start with the application itself, eyeshadow brushes are normally small, round and fluffy, not rigid at all. The first transition for beginners, I would recommend you go for a brown matte shade. Now before you start with the application, make sure you don't have any creases on the lids at all. Now on the eyeshadow brush, you're going to place the product on the side of the brush, not on the tip of the brush. Now for application, you're going to use the 3-dot technique for the first transition. So you're going to place the first dot where your upper lash line stops, like that, okay? The second dot where your eyebrow starts curving on the midpoint of the lid. Third dot just before the inner corner on the midpoint, not on the upper side, midpoint of the lid. That is a very crucial information, guys. Now you're going to start connecting from the outer corner going towards the inner corner, and how you hold the brush is very important. Don't hold it too close to the bristles. Give the bristles a bit of a distance, okay? Now around the outer corner where your upper lash line stops, when you're connecting it, you're going to tap it in upwards, okay? Tap it in that angle. Now as you go towards the inner corner on the other hand, make sure your brush is facing sideways to facing the inner side, okay? Sideways facing the inner side, so the product remains on the midpoint of the lid. We don't want the product all over the upper lid, guys. And for application, you're tapping it in, and then immediately after, tap off the excess product on this very same brush, and using sweep-like motion just on the edge there, you're going to gently, do you guys see that? Gently just loosen the edge before you start blending in that first transition. This step is very, very important. Now to blend in the first transition, you're going to use a lighter shade of brown. It should be matte. Now on the brush, you're going to apply the product on the side of the tip there. And how you hold this brush is very, very important. Don't hold it too close to the bristles. And you're going to only blend in at the edge, in that angle, the edge of the first transition, okay? And you're going to use circular motions going inwards and very little force. Circular motions, very little force, blend it inwards, okay? On the upper side, you're going to use a finishing powder that matches your skin tone, just to mattify that concealer you use on the upper side. Moving on, before you apply any shades on your crease region, make sure you blend in any creases. You can use the same brush you use to set in the lids, okay? Tap, 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 blend in the creases. And on the crease region, you can use any nude matte shade of your choice. Now remember, we're only using matte eyeshadows here to practice for beginners, okay? Now anytime you're using a matte eyeshadow, you're going to use a fluffy brush to apply. Even on the crease region, use a fluffy brush to apply the product, okay? Don't use a flat brush. Now when it comes to the width, it should be to at least 3/4 of your eye in width for the crease region, okay? And then you can use any light brown to blend in the corner of the crease there. Now moving on, I'm going to use the cream black eyeliner from Golden Lip. I'm starting from the midpoint there, as you can see, not all the way to the inner corner, just from the midpoint towards where your upper lash line stops. That is where I'm going to apply, and I'm going to use a very thin line. And then after, I'm just going to use my finger, okay, tip of my finger, and starting from my lower lash line, I am going to in that angle just drag it to give it an illusion of a wing. See, a very simple technique for my beginners. Now moving on to the face, I'm going to start off with a Bondi Sands SPF 50 sunscreen. This is a sunscreen and moisturizer 2-in-1. That is why I would recommend it for any beginners, okay? It is a very moisturizing sunscreen, so you don't need to buy a moisturizer after you bought this product. And then after, you're going to apply that all over the face. Allow for it to set first before you move on to the next. And the next is going to be a primer. I'm using the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. My skin type is dry skin. I'm only going to apply that on the T-zone area. If you have oily skin, on the other hand, apply a primer all over the areas you feel like you have open pores. All over the areas you feel like there is open pores. And after the primer is set, so we're going to move on to foundation. I'm using the Maybelline Lumi Matte foundation. It's very new in the market. It's actually better than all the Maybelline's foundations, so make sure you get the Lumi Matte foundation. And for application, I'm going to use a down beauty blender. So wet your beauty blender and then squeeze out all the water from the beauty blender, okay? All of it. And then for application, I'm just going to apply a bit of product on the beauty blender first. I'm not going to apply foundation under the eyes, guys. You're going to start from the cheeks, and for application we are tapping it in. Beginners, do you hear? Tap it in. Tap, tap, tap. Now when you're tapping, use very little force. Be gentle, okay? Don't be rough with it, otherwise it's going to be blending. Tap it, tap, 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 and make sure it's very gentle taps, not too harsh, okay? Around the cheek area there, spread it out, and little product goes a long way, guys. Do you see that? Little product goes a long way. And then the product remaining, as you're done tapping there, the product remaining on the beauty blender, bring it to your neck. Do not forget the neck. Bring it to your neck. Okay, and then do the same exact thing on this other side as well. Now around the nose region, you're going to start from the tip of the nose. Okay, just use a tiny amount of product on the tip, starting with the tip of the nose first, then around the lower part there, and then the product remaining on the beauty blender is what you're going to use around the corner of the nose. Now as you move up towards the forehead, this technique is very important. Beginners, I will need you to pay attention. Okay, you're going to start blending in between the brows first, and then after, as you move up on the forehead itself, you're going to start blending just above the eyebrows, spreading from left to right, from one corner to the next corner as you go up. Left to right, right to left as you move up. And you're going to use very little product around the forehead, so as you go up, you don't have a harsh line on the hairline region after you're done blending. Okay, product remaining on the beauty blender, use it on the sides there. Okay, now moving on to highlighting, you're going to use a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. You can use the same concealer you use to clean your brows. You're going to start with the under eye. Now on the under eyes, don't place the product just below the under eyes. It's the under eye itself. Okay, give it a bit of space it up, so when you blend it in, it is not too much just below the eyes. Okay, remember the eye region is a very thin skin. Okay, we don't want to apply too much cream product, so you're going to apply that inner corner, outer corner around the under eyes. Okay, and then after, you're going to do just a bit of product around the on the tip of the nose, and then on the forehead as well. Now on the forehead, you're going to bring the product in between the eyebrows as well. Now for my beginners, I would recommend you start blending from the tip of the nose to the forehead first before you come in to blend in the under eyes. Okay, because immediately after blending the under eyes, you need to set it in immediately. You don't want to come back and it's already started creasing. Okay, so start blending from tip of the nose to the forehead. And when you're blending in the concealer on the forehead, same technique, left to right, right to left, and make sure that concealer blends into the foundation. We don't want to see where your foundation stops and where your concealer starts. Okay, and then after that is when you can come back down and blend the under eyes. Okay, now for the under eyes, you're going to start blending from the inner corner going towards the outer corner. Don't start from the outer corner going towards the inner corner. Okay, inner corner, tap, tap, tap. And when it comes to blending these areas, guys, I would need you to be very patient. Take your time, don't be in a hurry. Beginners, I know you guys are you're always rushing. I don't know why. When it comes to makeup, you need to take your time to blend. Yeah, take your time to blend. Now towards the outer corner, you're going to blend it upwards because you want to lift up your face. Okay, like that, in that angle. Tap, tap, tap. And in case you use too much product towards the outer corner there, you use too much product and it's coming all the way to your hairline, what you're going to do is, using your beauty blender, you're going to blend it sideways into the foundation on the side. I think I'm just going to explain it in a second. Okay, so you're going to, number one, tap off the excess product on the beauty blender first before you start applying the product all over the place again, and then a product remaining on the beauty blender, blend it sideways like that into the foundation. Now, to avoid creasing on the under eyes, as you're blending the under eyes, make sure you have your compact finishing powder that matches the shade of the concealer next to you. And immediately after, using the same beauty blender, the side that has product, take some of the compact finishing powder, okay, and use that to set. And to set, you're just going to press that in. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me finishing powder. The shade is 330. I would recommend you use the one that has a box. I'm going to place a picture on this video so you guys can understand which one I'm talking about. Okay, so you're going to start setting from the under eyes. Okay, you're starting with the under eyes first before you move on to the rest of the areas you highlighted using a concealer. Okay, and again, to set, you're just pressing that product in, and then now you can move on to the tip. And remember the corner of the nose, to set the corners of the nose as well. And then after, again, take a bit of product from the compact finishing powder and then use it to set the forehead as well. Now guys, when you set the one under eye, go onto the product, take some of the product, go to the second under eye, go get some more product, set the nose, go get more product, sorry, and then set the forehead as well. Now moving on, after setting, you're going to powder contour. For powder contour, you're going to use a contour shade that is 2 shades darker than your skin tone. Don't go for a very dark contour shade. Now for contour brushes, especially powder contour, they're normally short on one side and longer on the other side. They have that angle, and they're always, especially for powder products, powder contour, fluffy brushes. Now if you don't know where exactly to place your cheek contour, you're going to use these 2 fingers. The thumb is going to be below your nose and the index finger above your ear, like that, so you know exactly where. And when you're guiding it with your hands, don't press in your hands onto your skin. Remember, you've not set these other areas, it may leave a mark, so give it a bit of a distance as you do that. Do you guys see that? That is your guideline on where exactly to contour. Now your contour should stop where your pupil ends. Do you guys see that? Don't bring it down. Measure it from where your pupil ends. That is where your contour should end as well. Now for the application process, you're going to start from the hairline, contour from the hairline moving down, okay? And you're going to use sweep-like motion moving upwards, okay? Sweep it upwards, like that. Do you guys see that? And on the brush, the longer side should be up, the lower side lower. The brush, longer side up, shorter side lower. Going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Now moving on to nose contour. Beginners, you do not need to nose contour. You do not need to nose contour at all. Now, but I'm going to teach you regardless, okay? You're going to start where your eyeshadow stops. You're placing your brush at a 45-degree angle, both sides, bring it in. So it gives you a guideline on where exactly to start drawing your contour lines. Do you guys see that? So you're starting off with an angled brush to draw the contour line, and here you're going to tap, okay? Tap it in. Don't drag the brush down. Tap it in on both sides, and make sure you close down the space on the lower side. We don't want to see where your nose having like a north wing and a south wing. Okay, and then to blend in, you're going to use a clean fluffy brush, and you're going to start from the upper side. You're going to blend it into the eyeshadow. Do you guys see that? Okay, both sides first into the eyeshadow, and then after you have blended in the upper side, as you go down, you're going to tap. Don't drag the product downward, tap it in. Okay, and you're using a clean fluffy brush so it does not leave harsh contour lines on your nose. We don't want you walking around looking like the ghost of Gabatula. We don't want harsh contour, okay? Especially for the nose region. The nose is very, very conspicuous, okay? We don't want very harsh contour on our noses. We don't want it to overpower makeup, okay? Now, in case you use, say, too much product, and take your time to blend, guys, take your time. In case you use too much product here, okay, you can use the finishing powder that matches your skin tone, okay? Take that brush, take some of the product, okay, and use that to blend over that. Tap it in to blend it in, so again, we avoid having harsh contour lines. And after that, you can use a finishing powder that matches now your skin tone, just to go over all the areas you did not apply powder on, okay? All over the face, if you must, okay? That includes the neck region as well. And then after that, I'm just going to use the cream eyeliner on my waterline, just on the waterline alone. Guys, we are placing this, I'm using the Golden Lip cream eyeliner just on the waterline. This one is waterproof, smudge proof, and very, very affordable. That is why I like it. You guys see that? Just on the waterline alone. Don't bring this to your under eye. You don't want to look like you're 50 when you're still 20. I beg, okay? Then after that, I'm just moving on to the lips. I'm starting off by a lip lining using a brown lip liner. Beginners, we are not doing black lip liners now, unless you have a very dark skin tone. We are not using black lip liner. Neither are we using a black eye pencil, unless you have a very dark skin tone, okay? So I'm just going to use a brown lip liner to outline my lips first, okay? And then after we outline the lips, I'm going to bring the product in sideways on both sides. That is the lower side as well as the upper side. Bring it in like that, okay? On the upper side as well, on sideways, bring it in. And then after you're done doing that, make sure you blend in that lip liner. Before you apply the lipstick, blend in the lip liner. And you're going to do like that. Blend in the lip liner before you apply the lipstick. Now you're going for a nude gloss lip. I'm using the golden lip in the shade Bitchy, and it is it has a pink undertone, still a nude shade, just around the midpoint here. And then to blend, we're doing don't go and rubbing your lips like that. I beg, be gentle, be a lady. Then after that, use your finger, blend the lipstick in onto the lip liner like that, okay? Don't leave the lipstick just on the midpoint alone, I beg. Use your finger, blend that in. They need to blend into each other. That is the purpose of makeup. They need to blend well. They need to marry each other. You don't see divorcees on your face. Then after that, I'm just going to use a setting spray all over the face now. And for setting spray, spray it from a distance, okay? And make sure you set your face. Don't be selfish with the setting spray. Spray it. Spray it for the gods. And then after, this is highlighting. You don't need to highlight. This is very optional, guys. Very, very optional. And that would be it from me today. That will be it from me today, guys. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial. Look at the face, yeah? This is how your makeup should be looking. Your skin should still be looking like skin, okay? The contour should be blending in with the other products. We don't want to see where your contour is. Oh, your contour is just there. It can be seen from Timbuktu. It's so conspicuous. No. Subtle. It blends in with the rest of the products, okay? Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial. If you watched this tutorial and you've loved it, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.